All right, welcome back to Secrets of the Comic Shop, where we have a little something different today. You know, there's a lot of top 10 shows. There's a lot of, just different things about hyping books and stuff like that. But, I wanted to bring in Cyberspace Steve again because Steve does 175,000 listings. If anybody has data, and at least 5 or 6 platforms.
Yeah.
Yep. So all these times you're seeing people do their top 10 show, it's all about eBay. Steve sells across all of them. And one of the things as a comic shop, sometimes you're gonna have multiples of a comic that pops, but as soon as it hits the top 10 list, that's the stuff that sold last week, not that's gonna sell next week. So what we wanted to talk about is stuff that was gonna be consistent. Your consistent online sellers, what you should be looking for, what you can put up. And, without further ado, Steve, Cyberspace Comics.
Hey, so top 10 lists are great for seeing what sold last week.
Yeah, it's fun to know
and
the
sometimes that
excitement.
book carries over to the next week. But a lot of times it's just like what's spiking.
Yeah.
But not necessarily going to be consistently selling. So I got some stuff here that sold over the weekend or in the past week. Stuff that I noticed just keep selling frequently. Just want to kind of show you some of that stuff.
Sure.
Some price points. Obviously, we had San Diego Comic-Con with some big news. So this was a big seller.
That was a spiker.
This is going to be a spike thing. Yeah.
Now that did well a couple of years
Previously,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah, because I sold out all mine back then.
Yep.
When it was previous, I think it was at $8. It was $8 or $10 back then, something like
I
that.
had even a little higher at that time.
Yeah.
This one's been going for like up to 70 now, maybe even more raw. But it's probably a spike.
Yeah.
It's not going to last at that price point forever.
There's a whole new, people were talking about that he because they called him Victor Von Doom and not Tony Stark as Doom, that he may be Kang Prime.
Oh, dude, there's a whole
all
lot of
kinds
ways
of
they
stuff
can do,
going on.
Yep.
So
and even Iron Lad from Young Avengers is Kang.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of connections there. So anyway, that one.
That's a great book.
That's a cool book.
Yeah, that was a cool book, even when it first came out.
This one, again, this is a little bit of hype, but it's been consistently selling for me since it came out. Right. And the price has been steadily increasing on it.
Oh, fantastic.
But probably because there's a lot of commercials, a lot of hype coming out for the movie, which just released.
Right.
But this one right here hit as high as like 35.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have any left. I think I ordered 3.
First printing too, by the way, which the second printing I think it's a yellow logo.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's nice to have the advertising behind it from movie studios that end up trickling down to our sales.
We would like to have comic book advertising back.
Oh, that would be
Very
helpful.
nice.
That would be helpful. This one is in line with nostalgia.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff coming back from when I was young. G.I. Joe and Transformers has been hitting pretty big recently. And this falls in line with that. Oh,
the Thundercats #1? Yeah, I went really heavy on this, and I sold out. For me, heavy is usually 10.
Okay.
I did 20.
Nice.
And I'm out.
And you're out already?
I'm out.
Yeah, so again, this book went to multiple printings, I think.
Yeah.
This has been going for up to like 20 for me.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty good for a book that's only 6 months old.
Yeah, no, 20 is great because I would be doing it at cover price.
Well, let me know when you have them at cover price.
You got it.
I'll be right in. This one has been selling very well for me over the past year.
Okay.
It's a 4-issue miniseries. All 4 issues do around $10 a piece. It's a prequel to a Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh, is it the one where he's in the arcade?
Do you have a name for it? I haven't actually seen the movie.
Something Willie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Willie's
and then,
Wonderland.
so this was number 4, which sold for me this weekend. Oh. But all 4 issues do pretty well. And the set also does very well.
Very well.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, I buy a lot from, what is it, Mythology? No,
yeah, American Mythology.
American Mythology. I buy a lot of their stuff. The only thing I don't like about them is that they constantly do this offered again.
Yes. Very annoying because I sometimes forget that it's offered again. I'm like, ooh, I'll jump on those. And
hey,
then
that
I'm like,
looks good. I already have it. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Stop doing that.
Is one
American Mythology.
Yeah, that is one I knew about I knew there was a comic, but I hadn't seen it before. So
Yeah, so like and not necessarily on eBay, but on other marketplaces, when you have a book like this that's based on a movie or prequel story to a movie, you have people on those other marketplaces that are
aren't
searching
really
for
comic
it.
people, but
Yeah,
they're looking-
right.
they're
and they're
big
looking
fans.
for Nicolas Cage, or they're
Right.
looking for the movie.
Yeah.
And then they come across this thing that they never knew existed.
yeah,
So it's nice to have that.
the cross collectible is probably one of the best things you can have. You have more people wanting it. It cuts down the number that's available. It raises the price of it. Getting a cross collectible is great. I mean, I do a lot of toys, and there's a lot of cross collectibles, especially in Barbie, and I've done phenomenally well in that arena with stuff that's this cross. And it's great when there's like multiple like cross collectibles, like that it's from a movie that's also a comic that is also an item that people collect, like a car or a chess set or something like that.
Yep. And that's kind of like the thing with this. So with Thundercats, when that's coming out and you're putting your FOC order together,
Right.
you're ordering it based on who you think's going to come to the comic shop. But
Yeah.
there's so many Thundercats fans out there who aren't visiting a comic shop on the regular,
No.
who then when this comes out and it hits, online sales and marketplaces that they're on, they're like, oh wow, I never even knew this existed. Now I wanted it.
Right.
But all that extra demand ends up spiking the price because there's just not as much supply out there, because you're not going to expect that there's 100 people coming through your door to buy Thundercats.
No, I was really surprised that I sold out of the 20. I actually bought the 20s to put them online. But look, I would much rather sell them in store. I had a lot of people buying multiple. Like they didn't buy multiples of number one, like of the same issue, but they bought 1A, B, C, D.
Oh, okay.
They
I
bought
gotcha.
every cover.
So we're not talking like 90s speculation where you're
No.
buying,
They bought
5
one of
copies
every cover,
Hardcore
which
number one.
surprised me. Yeah, I mean, what I always did when I collected was I picked the cover I liked best. I didn't buy every single cover. I just whatever one I liked the best, that's the cover I took. So
Gotcha. I prefer the main cover.
the A cover that was always
streamlined,
that used to be the money cover, right? That always was the, B covers rarely ever got any kind of love, but not so much anymore.
Next one is a book that I typically don't try to go for. The cover price is $7.99.
Okay.
Nowadays, if a book comes out with $7.99, I'm really hesitant to buy that new from the distributor.
Me too.
It's a book that likely doesn't sell through. There's like a Batman title that every month it's $7.99. So I'm just not gonna stock that book.
I think it's the Black Label one, right? Is the one?
No, it's just a square bound. No, it's a square bound Batman monthly.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is because I always do not order it. Yeah. But this book came out, and I just knew something about it was gonna kind of hit. Yeah,
Turtles?
it's not Turtles. No,
Oh.
it has an Alex Ross cover.
Okay.
It's a Marvel book
It has to be
based on a Disney property.
Yeah, it has to be a Scrooge.
Yeah, Uncle Scrooge. And the Infinity Dime. This one's been doing pretty well. The main cover has, been doing well for me. Up to like $24.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. People are
Wow.
just kind of scooping that one up. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean on eBay, because you could probably get it cheaper on eBay, but in other channels they're finding it at that price and buying it.
So how heavy did you go?
I bought 100.
100.
Yeah.
Wow. So then did you make money? Did you get a 100, one of 100?
Yeah, so I got the incentive variants too, and
Did that
sold
do?
them.
Did they
Yeah,
do
they
well
did
for you?
pretty well
All right.
too. Yeah, not they didn't go above ratio,
Right.
but even just to sell them
But this
close
is
to ratio was nice.
That's killer.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good
$25
price.
a
Yep.
pop.
I expect probably around Christmas time they'll still be
probably disappear.
they'll still be going through in Christmas. Yeah. With 100 copies, and just one channel
Right.
or one seller, it takes a while for me to burn through 100 copies.
A lot of these other platforms, we really can't. You have the data because it's your data that you've been
I
selling.
only have my data, but I don't know what else is selling on there.
But you have 175,000 listings, so
Yeah.
your data's pretty
I get
pretty
some,
healthy.
I get some good data. Yeah.
But like most people can't even see what that is. See the data what
No.
that sell through is.
What you can get on Amazon is they'll have a listing. They'll tell you what the performance is of that listing
Right.
on that given day. So you could see if it's selling well in its sale category.
Okay.
But that doesn't give you any numbers.
No.
It lets you know what's popular in that category. Next one, we're back to nostalgia. This whole title has been doing well for me. This specific issue just sold again and has been selling repeatedly. So I pulled this issue, but I could have pulled any issue
From
this
series.
run. Yeah. So this is Transformers.
Oh, yeah, Transformers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kirkman just really breathed some new life into these properties.
Yeah, he
Which
was
is-
smart. He's
the
doing a
interesting
lot of
thing
property
is
work.
Is it really, especially on the G.I. Joe side, people are buying back issues of G.I. Joe from me like they've never done before.
Right. Now you're talking about the original
I'm talking
Marvel
like
one?
Marvel, I'm talking
you're talking all of them.
IDW stuff. Like, it just kind of lit a spark on all of it, except for the Dark Horse series. Not that one. But everything else has been moving.
Well, the Image series. I've only had a few of those come through in collections. Even people I've had large G.I. Joe collections, they just didn't have much Image. I don't know if it was the time period. There just wasn't a lot of collectors during
Early
that time.
2000s,
Yeah.
yeah.
There still wasn't a lot of people back in comics yet.
They did have really cool main covers by Campbell at the time, though,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I'm surprised.
Well, that's why they're super sought after, but I really haven't gotten that many of them.
I'm just
I've
surprised
had
there's
some.
not a ton of them out there with Campbell doing the art.
I had a ton of IDW, and they were all in my dollar bins.
Maybe I got them.
You probably
Maybe
got
I
'em.
did.
But yeah, Transformers, I've been doing well, and I've overbought on Transformers too, because if they don't sell the week they come out, put them in the back, and they just disappear.
There's not a lot of titles like that,
Right.
you know.
For me, it's Turtles, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. I can
I would say
overbuy.
Amazing Spider-Man. is
Amazing
another one.
Spider-Man, yeah.
You always will end up selling Amazing Spider-Man. So if you overbuy on that, you're still kind of
you're
safe.
good,
Yep.
yeah.
There's a lot of titles that are not like that. You overbought them and you're
Anything
just
made by DC.
sitting here. Well,
You're warehousing.
recently, yes, recently.
Yeah, I mean, Bronze Age DC, no, but yeah, 80s DC, no. I mean, 80s DC moves pretty well, but like that's not coming. Like I'm not able to get that like buying new.
No new DC stuff.
No new
is
DC stuff.
Flying off.
The only thing I'll tell you, Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. If I have leftover stuff, they sell over time.
Yeah.
But it's just cover buyers,
Okay.
you know, and it's not actually the A cover. I go very light on the A cover. It's like one of the best B, C, or D
DC's
covers.
Variant covers are
Amazing.
incredible looking.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But that cover game is going away. I'm getting less and less people that are looking for just the cover. It's expensive
kinda
for one piece of art.
It is, and then you're not displaying it; you're just leaving it in a
Right.
box.
Yeah.
So I get that. Next one is from a really excellent writer that I've been enjoying. It's a rarity for a writer to have multiple books out at the same time, especially from one publisher.
Because they don't want you to compete against yourself.
Yeah. But Image is letting this guy run wild. Rick Remender.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember,
And this series is with Brian Posehn.
Oh, yeah. I got this in. I bought. Maybe I should.
This is like a 80s nostalgia
Yeah.
for skateboarding, and it's just a lot of stuff's hitting really well with this.
It's just kind of day in the life, right? It's not.
I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna read it. Was it 7 issues or something like that? Yeah. When all 7 issues are in my hand, I'll read it all at one time. That's how I like to read. But in the meantime, it's been doing well. This is number 2.
I actually had somebody call on the phone and ask me if I had any.
It was me because I want to sell them online.
Are they doing that well online?
This one hit like $20.
Oh man, I gotta go look in my back
This is number 2, but number 1 is the same thing. It's been also doing very well for me. Yep. I think the variant they have like 1 in 10 variants.
Yeah.
They do very well.
Well, that one is a big surprise to me. I mean, here's the difference in our business, and this is why one of the things why we can be such good friends and be across down the road from each other. He has no place for people to walk in and buy books from him. He only sells online. I'm not ordering a lot of this because the people that come in my door are not looking for grommets, right? This is really a big online book. I'm sure there's some bigger comic shops in like New York City and stuff that has that kind of number of people coming through the door that probably sell through that. But like in small Port Jervis, it's not a big book for me. And it's great that he can move it. And people are like, oh, well, why don't you move it? Dude, his operation, you go back and watch the video. It's incredible. He's got 9 employees. There's no way I'm matching what he's doing. It is a totally different business model. We both can thrive, survive, and be friends about it.
There's so many different cogs in the comic wheel.
Yeah, yeah.
And besides just what I do, online sales, and local comic store sales,
Yep.
you have the online, you don't have, I have online. You have comic conventions that are just going, every month.
There's guys that
every
just
week,
do
there's-
conventions.
Exactly, yep.
We have a friend, a mutual friend, Paul.
Yep.
Paul does,
Whatnot.
yeah, and he also does a lot of conventions.
Yep.
It hits all the conventions.
And then you just have, you got yard sales. There's just so many different little cogs here about, and you can't do all of them.
No, I don't do the exclusive game. I don't do grading. A lot of people say I pass up a lot of money. Yeah, okay, but I have a very committed reader base that I'm building every year. And it gets larger and larger. And I'm a destination. People come all the way just to dig books here. Steve has so many customers worldwide. He has so many listings. And you don't sell that many graded books, right? You don't have.
No, I didn't even think about the graded part of that wheel because it's such a small piece for me. But there's guys that will just go to comic stores like yours, and they'll like.
Oh yeah.
It's like I would prefer not to do that. That's not my thing. But there's guys that'll do that, and they'll be like, I know this is going to be 9.6 or 9.8. I know what the price should be, but then they send it in, and maybe it doesn't come back that, and now they're out a lot.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot to get graded, and they might not get that back. That's not a game I'm interested in playing.
Me either. Yeah. Me either.
So I'll leave that for those guys.
Now he does do an exclusive. He just did one 6 months ago, maybe. The Predator.
Yeah. I have that in the pile.
All right,
I'll
awesome.
get there eventually.
We'll get there.
I know I didn't show you the list, so
Okay.
it'll be a surprise for you. This one does pretty well for me over time. It's not like I'm not selling a zillion of them.
Right.
But I sold one today for 70. This one is a variant.
70?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that Captain
Winter
America.
Soldier variant. I'm sure with Thunderbolts coming out, people are still investing into the character.
Yeah,
So
he may
this is
end up in.
probably still-
There's a lot of different versions of Thunderbolts.
Yep.
He is already in the MCU. Very easy to move him into the Thunderbolts.
Yep.
I thought they already had the lineup of Thunderbolts. Isn't it already filmed? Isn't it the Red Guardian and?
I thought that he was supposed to be in it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
This is it's not spiking because of news, but it's still in people's thoughts, probably for speculation.
Also an amazing series.
Haven't read it yet, but
You haven't read
I
it?
have not read it yet. No, I'm really far behind on my Cap stuff.
It's so good. Brew Baker is such a great writer. He doesn't even need he just teams up with the writer and they do a couple of trades a year that they're not really trade paperbacks. I would call them graphic novels because it's all original work. They were never in floppy form. And that's what he's living on now. He's just doing, a couple of those graphic novels a year with the one artist. Brew Baker's a great writer.
I do look forward to reading it.
Yeah.
I've heard very good things about it.
It is very good.
The next one, you're not going to know it from the cover because it has this really. Have you been getting these books in recently?
I have. And this is from one independent that I know that I've been buying from, and I didn't know any of it has been selling well online.
There are several companies now that have this, and I'm wondering if they're all using the same printer, even though they're different publishers.
Publishers? Yeah.
Possibly. I find this really annoying because how do we treat this? How do we grade this? Are we grading this outside
White cover.
protective cover now too?
Because it's not like when they do a blank cover for you to have an artist draw on it.
Right.
That would probably bleed through.
Yeah,
It's super thin,
And
but
then-
it does protect any scratching and surface problems.
It does, but now they have this easy to remove instructions here. But when you remove this, I suspect there's going to be paper caught between the staple, and does that affect the grade? I don't know. To me, it's an annoyance. Just print
Just
the book.
send me the book, yeah.
Anyway,
This one is?
again, all the issues in this series are doing well for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, I think, sold for like 60. But this one sold recently for $16.
Yeah, the antagonists. Yeah. This is
series-
from Goodhood.
Godhood.
Godhood.
Yeah.
I didn't get this one. I do get ones with that white thing on it, but it wasn't this.
Yeah, this series is doing very well.
I'm surprised. I usually get every single independent when it first comes out.
It's Afrocentric or,
Right.
people of color, I guess, throughout the book. That's what the focus is. And there's a big market for that stuff if you do it well.
Do you remember Black AF?
Yeah, I don't think I was buying new books at the time.
I went super heavy on that. On the number one, I went super heavy on it. I sold a ton of it to a teacher who was teaching kids in New York City. Like she was teaching high school age kids how to read who didn't know how to read. So she
That was
bought
her
like,
in with them? Yeah, it's cool.
yeah. And I sold her every issue I had. But the art was not great. The story was decent.
The art in this is really good.
Yeah, I noticed that.
The paneling, the interior paneling is really good, not just the cover. So
It does seem very computer, though.
it's to me it seems just really high quality.
Yeah, it is high quality art, but I think
I don't know if it's computer or not. Looks
not
like it's
like-
hand drawn. Oh, you mean the coloring?
the coloring and all that. Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
I think everything's.
It's finished on, through.
It looks great. There's an audience for this type of stuff. When I sold it at a convention in New York, New York Comic Con, I made a box of just Luke Cage, Black Panther, and I labeled it as such. And they thanked me for like separating it for them so.
They could get right to it.
Yeah, they get right to it.
Well, there's a customer for everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's why not make it easier for them to get it, so that they're not digging through all the boxes when there's one specific thing they're looking for.
Next one is a video game comic, and video game comics have been doing pretty well recently.
Yes.
Especially, this one doesn't have it, but especially if they add like an in-game code that's exclusive to the comic, like that's a nice selling point.
That's all I've been saying is that there's so many companies out there that there's phone games, and they were like, oh, there is no such thing as microtransactions anymore. They used to do like, oh, for 10 cents, for 25
No, they
cents.
don't they want $5, $10. Yeah, in those games.
Yeah, the games I play online, I'm paying $5 when I want something. Sure. So, yeah, I mean, they have gobs of money.
Yep.
And then they just burn that game out. Once it gets to a certain number of people, they close that game out and they have a new one waiting. For when that game's dead, they just move another one in.
Yeah.
When it drops below a certain number
they
of
have
players,
to hit a certain number.
those servers got shut off and new servers get turned on. It's crazy.
This is not a mobile game though. This is one of the most endearing
Fortnite.
comic book characters or video game characters out there.
Oh, Sonic. Yeah. Sonic always.
Sonic always
It's one of my
sells very
best-selling
well.
comics, and I'm talking about off-the-shelf weekly. I was selling up to 10 of them a week. It has come back down to like 6 or 8, but yeah, I have 4 subscribers for it.
Fun character. There's always going to be someone.
Is it this one? Is the first appearance? Is this one, or is it the next one? I think number 70 is a first appearance of a new character.
Oh yeah.
Or yeah.
There's just always going to be, a kid of reading age that's ready to try comics, and this is always a good first comic.
What I've found about little kids is that why a lot of the companies, they make kids comics of characters that they've never seen before. They don't, but man, when they see somebody they know,
Sure. Yeah.
they latch right onto it.
And Sonic's not too kiddie. There's a
No.
fine line with
Right.
what that kids type of stuff and all ages type of stuff.
Yeah.
Sonic's not too kiddie. Like
No,
teenagers
exactly.
are into Sonic.
But little kids also want it because they know him and they know that their brother likes him and like they can,
it's kind of a
perfect.
unique. It's
Yes.
a unique character that has that appeal. Turtles are kind of the same way.
Yes.
There's an all ages turtle comic. Anybody at any age would be interested in reading that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're
The Saturday Morning Turtles comic does really well for me.
So this one's not selling for crazy money. Up to like $8.
Right.
For last month's
Yeah,
copy.
if somebody
last month's
missed it,
issue.
they'll
Nothing
pay up.
crazy, but it regularly sells.
So this is the kind of stuff on eBay, it's a race to the bottom. You'll see this for $2.05. Like people will just be blowing out what they have left over on
I don't
eBay.
know about Sonic, but
It's a
maybe the
lot
B
of
cover.
stuff.
Maybe the B cover.
Okay.
When I'm buying books these days, I make it a point to not buy any cover but the main cover,
Okay.
unless it catches my eye and I think it's going to sell. The problem is everything I think is cool doesn't sell. And I'm like, that's so cool.
Oh, we're twinsies.
Yeah, why does no one else like that? So I try not to play that game too much. I just try to stick with the main. Also, when you're selling online, which is different than in a store, you're building a following behind the listing. Okay, so why do you want to spread that amongst 3, 4, 5 different variants?
Right,
just kind of make one listing for the Sonic 69.
Right.
This is the cover you're getting, and then it builds.
Again,
momentum
you're
behind
not specifically selling to the same people who would come into a comic store.
No.
So that's a great market to be in, because it's untapped, right? Really, I mean, there's other people selling, of course, online in those other platforms, but having the most titles
Well, it helps. Yeah, selection helps when you're,
Selection
when you're
really
selling
helps.
online because you get to take advantage of combined shipping.
Yeah.
So instead of paying $5 shipping or $6 shipping from this person and $5 or $6 from this person, you can buy it from one source and maybe pay 25 cents extra.
When I'm buying long boxes for dollar bins from other dealers, I don't want 40 Supermen.
You want a
issue
huge
one.
selection.
I want, because people see that, they're like, oh, I can get that next week. I can get it next week. And every time they come, everybody else has said that. So all 40 sit there forever.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Duplication is tough to unload.
In store, it's very tough.
It's tough. If for me, if it's not a book like Sonic, if it's an old Superman,
Yeah.
it's tough for me. It's gonna sit for a long time. The next one is a set, and I know we've been talking about singles, but this is a set that does very well right now. It's a crossover matchup between a licensed character and a Marvel character. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and this licensed character has been in many movies.
Huh. I don't.
And
doesn't come to mind.
the Marvel character is in the movie right now.
Deadpool and somebody? Tweety? Oh, and Wolverine? No. Oh, Predator.
Predator
yeah,
vs.
yeah,
Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is something I
Predator
wish I
always
would
sucks.
have gone way more in on.
Yeah.
I think I only bought 10 of each issue to make
Right.
sets of. But this set right now, last set I sold was $100. And this came out last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the appeal of
Predator,
Predator
I know
fighting whoever.
Predator, Batman sells.
Yep.
There's another one coming out, I think.
So with that in mind, there is one coming out. It's Avengers vs. Predator. So I am going to go heavy on that because I think that'll do well as well. Although I don't think it'll do as well as Wolverine.
Claws versus claws,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But crossovers catch people's attention. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
They're not always good reading,
No, it's tough.
but it just really catches your attention because there's so many people that are into this genre that are like, what if this guy fought this guy? And it's well, this is the story if you wanted to check that out. The other crossover that's doing very well for me that I didn't bring is Turtles and Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Turtle Stranger Thing online. That set
I don't
people
think I
just
bought any of those.
people just are interested
like
in
that
it. You know what I mean? But again, it's not necessarily an eBay platform.
Right.
But on something bigger like Walmart or Amazon, where they're not necessarily looking for comics,
Right.
but they are looking for Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It'll catch
They'll
their
type
eye.
in Stranger Things and it shows up on the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just, and it
It's
is
something they don't have.
curiosity piquing.
Sure.
Oh, Turtles and Stranger Things? That's crazy. So anyway, crossovers can do well. The next one is a book that I've shipped a ton of them out, but nobody's paid anything for them because I give it away.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about earlier. This is a cyberspace exclusive. We printed these up. There's the logo on the back. And we've just been giving them out to our customers in our eBay store. All they have to do is buy 19 items. They get this for free.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that do that exclusive game and they try to sell these for
Right.
crazy money. And we do try to sell them. You can buy it if you just want this, but I would prefer that you don't buy it.
Right.
Like, buy what you want to buy and we'll give this to you for free.
Right.
So I use it as incentive to buy from me because there's a lot of sellers out there. So it's a reward.
The reward model, I think, is where exclusives should land. That's where they should be at. Man, I have very rarely seen any store exclusives be like the top book to get.
Nope.
It's sort of like selling T-shirts. I would rather sell a T-shirt with my logo on it than sell exclusive to somebody for $20 or $40. Oh, the Virgin one is $40, and the one with, oh, come on. I despise it.
I want to make more of these.
Yeah.
I like the concept that I can have my own book. This isn't my own book, but my book that has my name on it.
Right.
And then be able to just give it out as a reward. I do want to do more. Once these are all gone, I'm going to do another one.
But I'd rather do something like the New Hampshire. What were they? What were the name of the one that made the Tick?
New England Comics?
Yeah, New England Comics. I would rather do something like that. Find an artist that wants to do some work, and like we are planning to do our own comic. It's taking a lot longer than I thought it would. It's just going to be for in store, and maybe our YouTube family to purchase some off of our Shopify store. It's just going to be it's a kids comic. It's going to be something I can give away to kids, you know, and we'll probably make a bigger announcement when I have some actual pictures to show. But yeah, I just think that for what Marvel charges and DC charges to do one, and I know
We're not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
I know there's an NDA on
Yes.
what you pay, but it's a
Yeah.
lot. We can say a lot.
Sure, we can say a lot. It's costly, but like I said, for me, it's a nice, fun reward to give to customers.
Absolutely.
You know, when they get a box of comics that they bought from me, and then this is in there.
I know you're working on doing some publishing,
I'd
though.
like to get into that too, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to do
yeah.
exclusive, entire comics that are exclusive. It's you just gotta get all your ducks in a row.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, but once this is
It
gone,
takes
I'd
way
like
more
to do
time
one.
than we all thought.
It does.
Right,
I'd
from
like to maybe
scratch.
look at like maybe a Sonic one for the next one, something.
Oh, that would
yeah.
be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so that was 10. Sorry, 10. This is 11.
Yeah.
Actually, 12 I think was Infamous Iron Man. And then this is the bonus book.
The bonus book.
This is a bonus book.
Is this a top secret?
No, it's just it's not a mainstream book.
Okay.
Okay, it's a historical figure.
Okay. Is it Trump's Titans or Biden's?
It also has the Afrocentric appeal.
Oh, Barack. I had a lot of those from Keen Spot.
And it's
Or is it the Spider-Man with Barack Obama on it?
It's not that. It's probably about a year old, maybe even less than that. And it's from a publisher that you're probably not too fond of. Did I get it yet?
Is it even Shriver stuff? I don't know.
Nah. Harriet Tubman, Demons.
Oh, it's from Massive. Everybody knows how much I hate Massive.
This book has appeal. I mean,
Yeah,
there's so
I get
many
it.
reasons
I
why
get
it has
it.
appeal.
I just won't give them my money.
I get it.
There's a bunch of books that I wanted. The new Cullen Bunn book that's coming out where the cover's different and there's 4 different stories and depending on what cover you get, I thought that was a great idea. I bought none. And I love Cullen Bunn and I'd love to support him. I'm not supporting Massive. Just not.
Well, anyway, this book, to be fair, was published before Massive. They just picked it up.
They picked it up?
And he was a small press guy. I saw him doing like New York Comic Con.
Okay.
And they picked him up, and it sells well. People like it. There's like I said, there's a lot of different reasons why people would be into this.
Right. A lot of people like the Demon Slayer, Vampire Slayer, all that stuff.
Speaking of, there's another one that just came out, another Demon Slayer.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see that one?
No, I
It's
didn't.
Winnie the Pooh,
Of course.
a well-known Demon Slayer.
Yeah. That's another bunch of the Do You Pooh books.
Oh, this is Winnie the Pooh because Winnie the Pooh is now
Yeah.
public domain.
Yeah. Well, yeah, people were doing Pooh, even though they were saying, oh, it's not Winnie
Right.
Winnie the Pooh, because it
Yeah.
doesn't say Winnie the Pooh. He looks only exactly like Winnie the
Yes.
Pooh.
Yeah.
I think they could have went after him if they wanted to, but I don't think they were making enough money
They
for
probably
them
weren't
to
big
care.
enough. No, but I'm going heavy on Winnie the Pooh Demon Slayer. I think that will have a similar type of.
Is Massive doing that one too?
No, it's Antarctic.
Oh, Antarctic. Well, I'll buy
You're
it.
allowed to
I'll
buy
buy
it
that.
then.
Yeah,
You're allowed
I
to buy
love
it.
Antarctic. Antarctic Press. I love you guys. I wish you'd start putting your print runs.
Put them back in there.
Please.
I love seeing those prints.
Oh, it's so great.
Keen Spot does it. You can do it again.
Yeah. Oh, they are? Keen Spot's
Keen
print-
Spot on the back of the book, except for the A cover, but on the back of the book they'll tell you what the print runs is for all the variants.
For all the
And they're sometimes have
Very-
incredibly small print runs.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
amazed to see what they are.
Yeah. I do like some of the Keen Spot books. I think some of them are just guilty pleasure. I'm trying to. Do you know America Karate?
I know what the title is. Yeah.
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 You should read that book.
Yeah.
It's freaking.
It's off the wall.
It is so funny.
Okay.
It is so funny. If you're out there, find that book. I think I have one set, but I don't want to part with it. Actually.
It's at home
Yeah, it is.
America Karate.
I actually read it, like
regularly.
yeah.
You're like, it's the 28th of the month again. Time to break out America Karate.
It's really funny. I don't know why it ended. I don't get and like they weren't using any characters that they couldn't continue to use. I was surprised it didn't get made into a television cartoon on Cartoon Network because it is funnier than Archer in that similar kind of vein of Archer. Maybe that's why. Maybe they think it's too close. It's not like Archer. He's a secret agent, but he just does karate. He doesn't use a gun or anything. It's just karate.
If you're the creator of America Karate, please contact
Yeah,
Emmett.
please contact
He's ready
me.
to publish to the next issue.
Yeah, that's right.
If he doesn't get the job at DC,
At DC.
that he's in the running for.
Yeah, really in the running for
So
it.
that's my list of stuff that has been doing well recently.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to be featured on top 10.
Yeah, most of that stuff you're not going to see on the top 10. You'll see the Iron Man. It'll be on there.
Yep.
But that's just because it came out at San Diego Comic-Con. But that book really has been a good seller. I mean, I don't know if it's been that consistent because people kind of forget books, but it's been a good seller from when it came out.
Oh, I forgot the price of this one.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Around 20. Yep, 20 bucks. And again, this is one that you could show subsequent issues of. Yeah. They don't sell for 20, but they sell.
Yeah.
So it's just a title that catches people's eye.
Well, that's an important. If you're a comic book shop, you want to, if you're going to go onto the online, venture onto online and sell anything, you want to sell the stuff that sells. What's the consistent sellers? The spike stuff is hard to chase, man. Unless you're ahead of the curve, it's impossible. That book is going to dip so fast the next week.
But the hard part is,
and everybody that got it, everybody that wanted it got it.
but the hard part is, how do you know what sells? Except for what sells on eBay, how do you know what sells? That's the challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now we know some.
We know some,
Some.
but not all of them.
I really like. One of the successes, I think, of Steve's business is that he has all this data, right? And it's his data. And I really appreciate him coming out and sharing it with us, even a tiny amount of it, because I've told him he would be way richer if he just sold his data and his comic book program that he has that does all this. I mean, it takes work to set it up, but you know, your program is pretty impressive.
That's all. That would be hard to sell.
Right.
Well, I mean, it would be hard to tell people how to use it. I
Right.
think. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because there's 3 different pieces to it. Like it's.
right.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But that would make you way richer than comics. But you're a real
maybe.
comic guy. You love comics.
I would rather do this. This is way more fun
Exactly.
than selling a program.
People are like, you should grade all your books. Look at all those books on the wall. Grade them, put them online, sell them. I'm like,
No thanks.
no, no, thank you.
But if you want to do that, come to Emmett's.
Come here, buy them, and have them get them graded yourself.
You can look them over
That's
every
right.
little corner.
That's right, and we can come to fight on what the grade should be. I'm a hard grader as it is, so like you probably make a mint on me. I know I sold a guy a Spider-Man 300 that I thought was probably a 7.5. And I sold it to him for $200. Now this is a little while ago. It's before it got the same money that it was. It's come down a little bit, but still 200 was, you know, got it graded 9.6.
Really?
9.6.
You heard it here. Every 7.5 here is going to come back at 9.6.
Not every 7.5, but he did get it pressed. He did get it pressed. I didn't think that some of the stuff that he got out would have came out. So he sent it to a very good presser.
It takes work, yeah.
And it takes a really good presser. Like if you hear a guy is really good, just send your books there.
Yep.
I mean, unless you're doing them yourself. I know some guys have gotten really good at doing their own books, and that's fine. But you know, get some of the guys that are tried and true. I mean, they're out there. Everybody knows. Like, good luck getting Red Hood though, because like all the big guys use him, and I don't know if he has any time to do any more books, but like I've seen some of his stuff that he's been posting. It's amazing. Big Leg is also really good. Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there doing it that's quite incredible at it. Now, to me, there's a business that adds value to your collection.
Pressing?
Pressing and cleaning, because it's presentation. Even if you don't get it graded, it's going to present better, right?
Yep.
These plastic coffins, I mean, they may add to the value of your collection. I'm back.
CGC is coming back for you.
What do you think since we're here, I know it's getting late, but what do you think of PSA going to do comics? They got the guy from CBCS. The finalizer from CBCS was hired by PSA. He just did an interview with this kid. I guess this kid worked for Golden. Now Golden and PSA, they're all
I'm sorry, I'm not the person to talk to about this. I have no interest in any of the
Any of
grading,
it, right?
so it's like you just telling me like I don't like grading. I'm like I don't care for it either. So it's like that's what we
No,
got.
I'm just I like
I have no
all
real skin
these
in the
big
game.
companies
I don't
that
care.
are, but all these big companies that are owned by big companies like we know CGC is owned by the two largest investing companies in the world, and Golden is recently been purchased. I believe PSA is all in that now, and that's owned by some super rich people. The Mets owner is one of the owners, Cohen.
I feel about it the way when we talk about all these big companies, CGC is it. It's where it is, and then you are always like the top guy is going to eventually get unseated. So that's where we're at. You think CGC is going to go away? I think CGC is the gold standard.
They are the gold standard until they're not. I think that
But while they are the gold standard, why would you be investing in bronze?
well, I think if you're, for me is, if you're looking to turn and burn, CGC all the way. If you're buying a book to sell it, you're going to grade it and sell it, CGC. If you are looking to put something away for your family, for your kids, you have no idea who the leader will be in 10, 20, 30 years. As far as cards go, I think AI will be the leader in the future, where there's no human being involved. So there's not, I had a good day, I had a bad day. Oh, this is my favorite player. You know, there's all kinds of things.
It's hard to do it with comics.
That's what I was going to get into. Is that
with AI.
With AI, unless you have somebody flipping the pages, it's not impossible, but I don't think it's around the corner. It's not around the corner. It's definitely in the future, and farther in the future. I don't think maybe nobody would invest to do it either, because you'd have to have something that turn the pages, count the pages. It's going to be a heavy-duty program. But AI is jumping in leaps and bounds. But I'm very curious that you could just buy so many more books than just grading. Like at 20, if you've got a
yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I know guys that spend $3,000 sending a box of books to CGC. $3,000 is like a really high-end book, blue chip book. That could be 15,000 10 or 20 years from now.
Sure.
When we were young, what was Amazing Fantasy 15?
Yeah, I remember it being really cheap.
Really cheap. 500,000?
Really cheap.
I specifically remember when it was $5,000. I was like, who's going to pay $5,000 for a comic?
I think about that sometimes now. It's like, if I had just took all the money that I spent on bulk books and just bought 100 copies of Amazing Fantasy 15 and just sat on them till now, like, how much better would I be doing?
But also not fun.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun to hoard books like that.
Right.
This is way more fun.
Yeah.
This list would be very similar next week because a lot of the stuff keeps selling.
Right.
But it would be fun to maybe check in a month or two.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to do this every once a month, as long as there's some changes. Maybe we could there's probably a few more books.
No. We'll just re-upload this video again.
Right. We'll just replay it over and over again. But there'll be new books that come out that might come out, pop like that. Like the prices you're getting for some of these books, just because I have some of those books and I still just I just sell it for cover price. Mm-hmm. But I really can't get more than cover price. If I put $10 on
but the guy who's buying this online for $20 is not interested in spending 30 minutes driving to a comic store
absolutely.
to pay $4
right.
for $5
that's
for
why
it,
I
and
say
then driving 30 minutes back.
We have totally different customers.
It's almost his time just is
worth way more
worth
money.
it to just pay a little bit premium and then be done with it.
Even if he hands it to his kid and his kid reads it and rips it.
Yeah. That's the whole.
His time is way more valuable.
With there not being a comic store on every corner.
Right.
And especially depending parts of the country where there's no comic store for hours. Yeah, someone like me with a large selection is just it's more convenient and more it works for their time more. They're not going to spend hours just driving to a comic store that won't have the selection that I have.
Not anywhere close.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge comic store, but I have a lot of comics, and I'm nowhere near yours. Not a fifth, not probably a tenth of your selection. It's insane.
It would be hard for any comic store to really to justify the retail
The space, yeah.
for that type of selection.
Guys I know that have huge collections don't even have it out for sale. They can't. Their storeroom, they can just stack it in boxes where nobody can look all the way to the ceiling. Your floor space is so tough.
Yep.
Like, you have to dedicate so much to the stuff that makes you the money. Like in floor space, you can't just store it and pull it when it's needed, right? I don't know anybody organize that in their back rooms either. Their back rooms are just stacked of.
And they're not, just whatever came in that month, and they're pulling off the rack that month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just fill, when it gets to a certain point, they're just filling boxes, then putting it back in the back room.
Yep.
And some people do know what they have. They may not be able to know where it is.
Yeah.
But they do know what they have, but most don't. I know I don't. Which is sad. I do lose out on sales. A guy came in for a Black Cat. Is it Black Cat and Hawkeye? No, Black Widow and Hawkeye. I know.
Yeah, it's here somewhere.
I could not find that book. And I have it in alphabetical order for books that came out recently. Just wasn't there. Somebody moved it, and that's the other thing about retail.
Yeah, things go missing
And
and get put back in the wrong spot frequently.
well, if somebody wants it, they'll put it in the Independence. They'll stick it somewhere in the Independence. Oh, nobody will look for this Spider-Man here in the Independence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I can't sell
Yeah, I
it.
hit a bunch of your Silver Age in the Spawn section.
In the Spawn section sells out. I can't keep Spawn. Thanks for coming along, watching, and hope you enjoyed this. We're going to come back for a few months. If you guys like it, we'll come back. We're going to do some more hauls when I get more stuff. I haven't got anything decent worth a haul yet in the last couple of weeks. But, you know, maybe if Steve wants, he was just telling me about, he has a tractor trailer load that hasn't been seen in 8 years.
Yeah.
That might be fun to crack and look through for a little bit, but we'll see. Maybe I twist his arm a little bit. All right, keep reading comics.